Melanie here, Experiments in Bliss. What I'm going to do for you today is something that I haven't done before. I am going to do a product review for you. I've been having this on my list for a really long time now, but wanted to make sure that I really took the time to get a feel for the product itself before I actually did a review of it. I really like the idea of doing product reviews for you because it gives me the opportunity of doing some of the less fun legwork of getting to know a product and working out the kinks, so you can just sit back and enjoy the rewards without the risk. So today I'm going to be reviewing my Xero shoes, and I have the women's Z-Trek sport sandals. I got them 3 or 4 months ago, and during that time I have taken these shoes on all kinds of terrain. I have walked all over the big island of Hawaii. I've hiked over lava fields. I have walked through jungles. I have walked on beaches. I've walked on forest soil, through yards, through urban settings, through the mainland of the United States. A lot of paved streets, a lot of dirt roads, through a lot of sand, and a lot of water, a lot of beach settings, and actually a lot of rocky, pebbly areas as well. So these shoes have seen a lot of terrain, a lot of different kinds of terrain, and I'm not gentle with them at all. So basically what I've done is a good old-fashioned pros and cons list, and I'm going to go over that with you right now. And I'm going to start with the pros. First thing that I personally really love about these shoes is that they are 100% vegan, and I know that that is not going to necessarily be a deciding factor for everyone out there, and that's okay. I'm not here to have a debate about veganism with you, but for me that's something that's really important in a product. So that is something that I definitely put at the top of my pro list for this shoe. I also really love the idea of a barefoot shoe, and I know that there are tons of options out there and they all do some really nice things. The reason that I felt the Z-Treks were a better option for me than some of the other barefoot running shoes or barefoot hiking shoes out there are primarily because of the design. They offer the Z shape of straps. Having something between my toes can get really uncomfortable for me. So I really like the idea of having a sandal that doesn't have to go between my toes, and it also means that I can wear my sandals with socks if I'm getting cold. It might not be a super attractive look, but sometimes function comes before form. Before I came to the barefoot shoe, I was a long-time devotee of Chaco sandals. And if any of you know Chaco sandals, they're a sport sandal as well. They have a fairly thick, fairly heavy sole, but they have the same sort of Z cross strapping on the top of the shoe. So this is a really nice transition for me as I was moving from a more supportive shoe to a more barefoot style minimalist shoe. And there are a couple of reasons that I really wanted to move toward a more minimalist, more barefoot style shoe. One is just for the mechanical benefits. Some of you may know that I am a wellness professional. My whole life has been about studying bodies and trying to really find the best alignment and the best mechanics within my body and within the bodies of all of my clients, just for ease of functioning and to reduce the opportunity and the possibility for injury. So to find a shoe that really allows that sort of natural alignment that our bodies are attuned to and are constantly working toward is really a big pro. I found that once I did transition from my Chacos to my Xero shoes, there was a little bit of an adjustment in my body, a little bit of discomfort at first, and I have a tendency to have just some slight glute medius lower back pain on the right side of my body. And I found that it got exacerbated for, I don't know, a week or two as I was doing the transition. But then after that, that pain really started alleviating itself as I was walking in the barefoot shoe. It was really allowing me to find a more correct and erect posture as I was moving through my day, walking, hiking, running, and honestly, even as I was sitting, because using my body in locomotion in these ways was actually allowing me to become more efficient with my musculature, so that my core was becoming more efficient and a little bit stronger, and all of the muscles supporting my skeleton were learning to hold myself more efficiently in any movement and in any activity that I was doing. So there have been benefits not just while I've been wearing the shoes, but they've carried over into outsides as well. Another thing that I really love about these shoes is that they're super lightweight. I think on the website they quote that the women's size 7, which is actually the shoe that I have, each sandal only weighs 4.3 ounces. And that's really, really nice when you're trying to travel as lightly as possible. And they're also really thin, so they roll up really tiny. So like I can scrunch them up and shove them in a bag if I need to, and I'm not putting much into that, so I could probably make a tighter roll than this as well. And they also are really flat, so you can put them together and they take up very little space. I have a 19-liter backpack that I carry with me, and that's really the only bag that I carry other than a food bag. So it's really helpful for me if I need to tuck my shoes in somewhere, just to be able to get them in a really tiny space. Although I say that, and these are the only shoes that I'm wearing these days. They're the only shoes that I take with me when I travel, so usually they're on my feet. But if I do need to slip them in my backpack, I can. If I need to attach them to the outside of my backpack, I have a carabiner that I can do that, and it doesn't add any weight at all, any noticeable weight to my pack. So it's really, the fact that they're really lightweight is a super plus for me. The other thing that I really, really love about these shoes is that they're amphibious. You can wear them in water, you can wear them on dry land, you can come and go between water and dry land. And being in tropical climates and being around beaches, I'm doing that a lot. So it's really, really nice for me to not have to worry about taking off my shoes and putting on my shoes and taking off my shoes and putting on my shoes when my terrain changes. And it's also really nice to know that because there's so little material involved in the shoe, that they really dry out super quickly. So I don't feel like I'm left with that sloshy, gloppy, wet shoe feel that a lot of the thicker shoes can hang on to when you're hiking especially. Now I know that I'm doing a review for one particular shoe, the Z-Trek sandal, but I did want to add one more bit from my pro list that is not specific to those shoes, but is sort of for the company in general, that they do offer a lot of choices when it comes to design. They have closed-toed shoes, closed-heeled shoes, they have varying types of sandals, they have the thong huaraches, they have the Z strapping that I've got with the Z-Trek and Z-Trail shoes. They've got some do-it-yourself sandals, which is really nice too if you're trying to save a little bit of money. Yeah, they have a lot of variety, a lot of color, a lot of pattern. So that is something that's also really important for me, is to know that I have that that variety of options to choose from when I am working with a particular company. Another thing on my pro list, that they dress up and dress down pretty well, at least for a sport sandal. So that's kind of nice when you're traveling with them. So now let's take a moment to move on to my cons list. And just because they are in my cons list does not mean that these are inherently bad things. They're just things that might not be perfect for me. So the first thing is that they are made in China. It's not a deal breaker for me, but I do prefer to buy from companies that source their materials and their labor locally. So that's something that is on the top of my con list. Another thing is that being a minimalist shoe, and I don't think that this is specific to the Xero shoes, I think this is probably fair to say for many barefoot shoes and minimalist shoes in general, but I do notice that they are showing signs of wear and tear pretty quickly, sooner than I would expect them to for how long I've had them. Although I really, I don't baby my shoes. I really use them and I wear them every single day. So to be fair, they do take a beating when I wear them. But I have noticed things like this, some fraying on the straps, and you can see there's a little bit of peeling or shedding on the insoles. But that said, they're holding up pretty darn well, so I'm not super concerned about that. And as long as they keep holding themselves together, then I'm okay. So another thing on my con list, and this is something that I've dealt with other shoe companies before, and I find it really annoying. I am a solid size 6.5, and many companies, including Xero Shoes, do not offer half sizes. So I went a half size up, so I've got the size 7 instead of a 6.5, and they're fine. They work okay, but they're not perfect. They're not a perfect fit, and I do notice a difference. My foot slides a little bit in the footbed, even with different variations of adjustments on the straps. And I also find that I'm getting just a slight bit of blistering around my toes from where my feet slide forward and backward as I'm walking. It's very minimal, but as someone who walks excessively and also really loves to hike a lot, it can be a problem over time. So that definitely is an issue if you're like me and you're a dead-on half-size shoe person. And the last thing that's on my con list is another one of those things that's not specific to Xero Shoes. Considering they are minimalist, which means that they are using very little material to create the product itself, the shoes are quite expensive. They're quite an investment. I know it's a very relative term, and I know the cool thing about Xero Shoes in particular is that they do offer the do-it-yourself huaraches, so you can get a cheaper variation and use your creativity to make a shoe that's just individualized for you. So I do like that they are addressing that issue, and I do also like that they put their shoes on sale fairly regularly, but it is an issue that I have across the board with sports sandals. I do think that they are a little overpriced for the very fact that they use so little materials and that they're made in China. So all in all, I am in love with these shoes. I really thought that I was going to be a die-hard Chaco wearer for the rest of my life, but the idea of going back to wearing them now makes me feel like I would be walking around like Frankenstein with incredibly big, chunky, heavy bricks on my feet. The Xero shoes are so light and so comfortable, but still protect my feet in a way that allows me to feel the earth beneath my feet without causing injury to them. My alignment is so much better in my body. My posture is improving. My musculature is getting much more efficient and much more aligned. They look good. In fact, they look better than my Chacos, if I'm being honest. They're a little daintier, which I like. Yeah, so would I recommend these shoes? 100%, absolutely. I think they're a great option for people who are trying to explore barefoot running and barefoot walking. I think they're a brilliant option for people who want to get closer to the earth and practice grounding, but who might not live in a location where the ground is amenable to that, or where your walking paths or running paths are amenable to that. I think they're great for travelers, and they are really great camp shoes for hikers who are not interested in hiking in sandals but want to have a great, lightweight, easy to use, but also pretty durable camp shoe. Brilliant option. So hopefully that is helpful for you. If you have any questions about anything I've gone over, or if you have pros and cons that you've discovered about these shoes that I didn't cover and you'd like to share, please do so in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you have to say about them. I also, full disclosure, do have an affiliate link with Xero Shoes, so if you are at all interested in purchasing a pair of your own, please go down into the description below and click on the link there, and it'll take you right to the website, and you can support Experiments in Bliss while you're buying yourself a really awesome pair of shoes. Yeah, so hopefully that was helpful, and I will look forward to talking to you again soon, and we'll see what kind of mischief we can get into and what kind of bliss we can drum up. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Happy experimenting.